Kulikayo mukumula mukoko kiriza tweyongereyo n'embozi zaffe ngeza wiki. Mu birala abakungu okuva mu kago gwa Bulaaya basisinkanye abakulu okuva mu kibiina kya National Unity Platform okubaako ensonga ezenjawulo ze battaanya. Bano beegumba akafubo okumala essaawa ezaali ziwererako ddala era ng'eno tebakkirizayo bannamawulire. Wabula oluvannyuma batutegeeza nti essira basinga kuliteeka ku kalulu ka bonna ak'omwaka ogujja.
President and his team, together with the European Union member state ambassadors. Well, because this is an important year. Uganda is heading for elections next year in 2026. It's an incredibly important process, of course, for the democracy in the country, and we expect all Ugandans to take greater interest in this. And so do we, as diplomats and observers, active observers here in your country. We follow very closely what is happening in the country this year.
Baneera bakoona ne kubikolwa ebityoboola eddembe ly'obuntu ebyalabikira mu kalulu ka Kawempe North omwali okukuba n'okutulugunya ab'oludda oluvuganya bye bagamba nti tebiraga butebenkevu mu kalulu.
We have seen this year that there has been some violence around the by-elections in Kawempe North, and we have discussed and expressed our concern about that, as well as lately kind of interventions by the security forces against team members of the NUP president, and we have expressed our concern about that as well. This does not seem to point to a level playing field, which is so important in a democracy that is heading for elections. So we appeal to all political forces in the country to respect the ideas of democracy and to pursue these elections in a calm way to achieve fair and credible election results.
Wanjan Sadek ngono ye mubaka w'omukago guno mu Uganda we yasinzidde n'akubiriza abo bonna abakwatibwako okukuuma obutebenkevu naddala mu biseera ebyakalulu.
So we appeal to all political forces in the country to respect the ideas of democracy and to pursue these elections in a calm way to achieve fair and credible election results.
Ye Robert Kyagulanyi Sentamu ngono yakulira ekibiina kya National Unity Platform bano yabasaba okwewala abo bonna abenyigira mu bikolwa ebirimu okutyoboola eddembe ly'obuntu.
Tubadde mu kafuo ne European Union delegation team y'omukago gwa Bulaaya ambassador abamawanga ga Bulaaya abakulembeddwa ambassador wa EU badde bazze twogere ku nsonga ezenjawulo ebyenkulaakulana nteekateeka yaffe mugenda mu kalulu na nteekateeka ki tetwagala okuleeta singa tuba tutudde obukulembeze ng'Abannayuganda bonna bwe bakiraga. Naye okusingira ddala ebyo babireese okubiteesaako bo nga balinga abalowooza nti embeera tuli mu ya bulijjo. Naye tumaliriza ng'ensonga enkulu gye twesibyeko era yetuta obudde obusinga ensonga ya human rights, eddembe ly'obuntu. Bo ng'amawanga g'e Bulaaya tubalabye nga beesibye nnyo ku ddembe ly'obuntu. Naye era tubadde nga ababasomera ekibagamba nti beesiba ku ddembe ly'obuntu naye balinga abagamba nti eddembe ly'obuntu lyo liririmu lye bamanyi libadde bakaanira eryokwegadanga. Naye ng'eddembe ly'obuntu lirina okubeera obulamu bw'abantu okugeza turaisinze complaint yaffe oba okwemulugunya kwaffe okuba nti bano amawanga g'Abazungu amawanga g'e Bulaaya galabiddwa nnyo bambasada baabwe nga beekulubeesa n'abamenyi b'amateeka n'abatulugunya abantu. So tukibabuulidde ne tubagamba tekisanyusa Bannayuganda naffe kennyini babanga bo abalina akagenderere babanga abafuzi ab'amatwale okukolagana n'abatunyigiriza. Era n'enjogera ne ku nsonga ya Amini yalina omuzungu gwe yabeeranga naye nga gwakozesa okulaga ekifaananyi y'Abazungu bakolagana nabo. batusuubiza tibajja kwongera okusitula eddoboozi lyabwe ku mbeera ya human rights oba eddembe ly'obuntu wano. Netulaizinga n'ensonga y'abaganda baffe abali mu kkomera okusingira ddala Eddie Mutwe eyatulugunyizibwa ng'ali mu ddwaliro ali mu kkomera avundireyo mu kifo ky'okubeera mu ddwaliro. Batusuubiza nti bajja kyogerako. Tulinze okulaba ebikolwa byabwe nga bikwatagana n'ebigambo byabwe, era bwe kinaakola ekyo kijja tukola bulungi nnyo. Mwebale nnyo, mwebalire ddala.
Bwe tugendako mu Parliament ku Lwokubiri lwa wiiki eno, Minisita w'ebyokwerinda Jacob Oboth yayanjulira Parliament ennongosereza mu tteeka erifuga UPDF, era ng'eno Sipiika yalisindika mu kakiiko k'amateeka n'ebyokwerinda aka Parliament.
I beg to move that the bill entitled the Uganda People's Defence Forces Amendment Bill 2025 be read for the first time. I want to attach a copy of the certificate of financial implication.
The bill stands referred to Committee of Defense and Internal Affairs and the Committee of Legal and Parliamentary. The chairperson of Legal and Parliamentary Affairs is hereby designated to chair the joint committee. He will be deputized by the Committee of Defense and Internal Affairs.
Ku Lwokusatu akakiiko kano kaatuula ne kasisinkana abakulu mu byokwerinda nga bakulembeddwamu Minisita Oboth kw'ossa ne Ssaabawolereza wa gavumenti Kiryowa Kiwanuka.
Assist us with your guidance on what you think we should add, because we have put for appointment, we have put for tenure, we have, so you could also add and say, I think you may want to add this aspect.
Ebbago lino lirimu obuwaayiro 176 nga ku mulundi guno essira lyali lyakusibwa nnyo ku kawaayiro namba 30 ennyingo 1017A omuli okuzzaawo kkooti y'amagye, abalamuzi engeri gye balondebwamu, okuddamu okuzza abantu ba bulijjo mu kkooti, kw'ossa n'emisango egirina okubeera nga gitwalibwayo.
Section 117A provide exceptional circumstances under which persons not otherwise subject to military law may be tried in the court-martial, and this is in compliance with the advisory order that was given the Supreme Court judgment on page 199 of the judgment. Section 117D on page 46 prescribes specific offenses that bring a person who aids and abets under the jurisdiction of the court-martial, and also introduces the element of conspiration. These offenses, they are murder, aggravated robbery, kidnap with intent to murder, cattle rustling, treason, and misprision of treason. Clause 38 on page 54 introduces section 195 to establish the general court-martial, which shall be headed by a person qualified to be appointed the judge of the High Court, and who shall not be below the rank of Brigadier General. 2 members who shall be advocates of the High Court and not below the rank of Colonel. 2 senior officers who shall be advocates of the High Court, and such other advocates as may be determined by the High Command. The quorum of the General Court-Martial also is by 3 members, the chairperson and 2 other members. And the same clause provides for a panel. It provides for panels at the General Court-Martial so that at different times we can have different panels sitting at the same time.
Thank you. Honorable Chair and honorable colleagues, for the first time in the history of this country, based on the judgment of the Supreme Court in the appointment of, in the composition of members of the court-martial. So that has never happened. That brings the civility in the process of administering justice in the military courts-martial. To us, based with the advice of the Attorney General, who did a lot of research. We compromise on that one. That now, in the appointment, we shall do it in consultation with the Judicial Service Commission. If I was saying this somewhere else, I would have asked for applause. But now, since I'm in the Committee of Parliament, everyone is looking at me as if I have not said anything sensible.
Wadde byabadde bityo mu kutandika, naye Ssaabawolereza wa gavumenti kw'ossa ne Minisita w'ebyokwerinda basisinkanye akaseera akazibu okuddamu ebibuuzo by'ababaka abatuula ku kakiiko kano.
Mr. Chairman, I have a number of concerns. The first is that one of the justifications for this bill is stated to be to align the Act, the UPDF Act, with the decision of the Supreme Court. My question is, what was the issue before the Supreme Court and what was the decision?
I want to know, because the bill says that it prescribes the qualification of the chairperson, the presiding officer. How about the vice? And in case, and then leaves others hanging. It is only the presiding officer whose qualification is defined. In case he is away or she is away or absent, don't you think the vice is not qualified enough if it doesn't address either the chair and the vice shall be of either qualification to be High Court judges? I want that one to be addressed. Then also, I think when he was presenting, he stated that actually there will be panels to address this. General Court Martial shall have panels, and there is only one qualified person who will preside over these other panels. Yet it is only the chair or the presiding officer qualified to preside over the court martial.
I have tried to establish, with all the voluminous presentations, how then you have the court martial becoming a court. I can't find it, save for the words here enshrined. I was trying to cross them into the law as known. Would the Land Attorney General advise me how these amendments fall within Article 129(1), so that eventually we can see the court martial becoming a court? Because the ruling, Supreme Court ruling, which has been deemed as advisory and therefore motivating over these amendments, was very clear on what makes a court.
Under all circumstances,
No.
to try. No, I just want your record, so don't tell me to add.
I am going to show you
to escort
when I
you with
end,
that.
because I said I want to end with that. I want to show you that you are wrong, that not even the Constitutional Court said that, not even the Supreme Court said that. But I'm going to get to that. I said it was the last. The question of framing is criminal in itself. So, but that is another matter. If they are framing someone and putting a material in their house, that's criminal in itself. So we try to write a law, but we write the law for human beings. Human beings, by their nature, we try as much as possible, but they are going to fail in certain instances. That's why you have the laws. So it is that framing is definitely criminal, and we need to address it. And I think on your recommendation to have the DPP participate in prosecution, that would contravene Article 1, Honorable Abdallah. You had proposed that we have the DPP sanction the charges under the court martial, and I was saying that would require a constitutional amendment, because the Constitution under Article 123B specifically prohibits the participation of the DPP in matters before the court martial.
Wano omubaka Abdu Katuntu we yasinzidde n'ategeeza nti embeera okutuuka eno yonna bunafu bw'amagye n'ebitongole by'ebyokwerinda ebirala olw'okulekereranga obuvunaanyizibwa bwabyo ne biringiriza ate ensonga ezitali mu woofiisi zaabyo.
I want to talk directed to the court martial officers who are here. All this problem has been caused by you. All this conversation has been caused by you. Why am I saying it? You failed to do what you are supposed to do in the law and veered into other things. And where you would have a legitimate case, like I'm going to support you on some aspects, here, you've spoiled your case. So as we give you a law, don't cause us more contradictions and problems. Let me give you an example. If there is this civilian Abdu Katonto found with grenades, artillery pieces, why would, even if I'm a civilian, why would anybody have objections in me being tried by the court martial? Because that is the purpose of the court martial. These are weapons which ordinarily should be a monopoly of the UPDF. These are just war materials. A civilian who is having this sort of weapons, caliber of weapons, really, we would not be so much having a wider conversation. But if you start to pick a helmet and that becomes, what do you call them, these people? Beret. Is it called beret? Whatever they are. And that becomes an issue. You are vulgarizing.
Ababaka era tebabadde na bigambo biwoomu eri ebitongole by'ebyokwerinda ku byambalo bye bagamba nti abantu ba bulijjo bye bambala byefaanaanyiriza eby'amagye ne poliisi.
When you look at the bill, page 88, clearly there are army kitenji clothes, blue kitenji clothes, which I think most of the designers around town are using. What would differentiate the attires of the military would be the symbols, the emblems that differentiate. There is no way you can tell me that a boot, a black boot, or any other clothing that does not have a symbol should be attached and gazetted to be a uniform of the military. I believe this is going to affect many, but even the creatives in the industry. This is something that many of our supporters of the NUP are being arrested. One is arrested because he's putting on a red beret that specifically has a symbol of the people power. One that is gazetted and accepted by the Electoral Commission, different from that of the army. Many of these young people that are being arrested are being subjected in the military court before the Supreme Court ruling. They were being subjected, even up to now, they have not got an opportunity for their cases to be transferred to the civilian courts.
The issue is on uniform. I have seen here you are stating the shoes for military. Black shoes for ceremonial shoes for the military. It is almost the shoes I'm wearing. It means all now shoes in Uganda, when they are black, will be police of military. Meaning all Ugandans may end there. It is here, the picture is here. Honorable Minister, don't intimidate us. I'm giving a submission. You will also clarify, because the picture is here showing picture 25. This is a normal shoe for all Ugandans, all members of parliament are wearing now here. So meaning all of us, we may end in court martial unless if this is changing.
But I think the law is talking about similar. That if I looked at it from a distance, what would I think that person is? If, for example, a person is running out of this building, putting on this uniform, wouldn't you ordinarily think that is for the soldier? That is where it is supposed to avoid confusion. So if you have a red beret like you have for NUP, if you're in a crowd, a person looking at you at a distance, would they think it is NUP or military police? That's the issue. So when the law is looking at those issues, it is talking about the similarity and likely to confuse. Obviously, there will be extensions where we are discussing black shoes.
So that is the comment on that. But I think that is a policy issue we need to look at and understand how can we best, what is it that we would look at as contradicting what the army uniform would be.
Ababaka n'abantu ba bulijjo baali basanyufu nga balowooza nti kkooti enkulu yali yasalawo n'egamba nti abantu ba bulijjo si baakuddizibwayo mu kkooti z'amagye, wabula kino Ssaabawolereza Kiwanuka yategeezezza nti wammaggwe kikafuuwe.
Be very cognizant of the court ruling, Supreme Court ruling. The Supreme Court ruling states that civilians should not be tried in court martial. They say civilians. Now here you are saying under certain circumstances, exceptional, civilians should be tried in court martial. Now I wanted to know what has changed that the court martial has been doing with the civilians in trying them in court martial, now that they seek to change and try them. Because here, principally, the ruling says civilians, not exceptional, civilians. So there it causes an ambiguity. Attorney General, you will need to give us a better statement whether this one may not contravene the Constitution, especially Article 92, about the activities of Parliament versus the court. So we need that.
And I can state, honorable colleagues and members, without any fear of contradiction, that the court did not, the Supreme Court did not at any one point say civilians cannot be tried in the general court martial. I want to state that as without fear of contradiction. The Supreme Court did not say that civilians cannot be tried in the court martial. Like Honorable Katu.
Wanera ababaka bategeezezza nti kino kyandiba akagenderere okwagala okunafuya kkooti eza bulijjo.
Honorable Chair, the exceptional circumstances and whereas the ruling spoke about the fact that all these cases referred to as exceptional circumstances can be tried in civilian courts, and indeed they can be tried in the civilian courts. I have not seen these amendments speak to the fact that the civilian courts are inadequate in trying these matters, and therefore the warranty being taken to the court martial. These amendments are not stripping over that fact and are not introducing anything new to warranty exceptional circumstances.
Mr. Chair, the bill is extremely beautiful, and if this bill was speaking to a young girl, the girl would only accept to go for marriage. But there is that hiccup that we need this legal mind. How do you justify? But we still have these courts. Are we now disempowering the civilian courts? Are we really looking at that only clause to justify that the civilians? I was talking to Jonathan here. We know some people hold guns, lawfully trained, private firearms. But then how would that justification be? So, Bwana Attorney General, we need really to know so that we really speak to this. We need peace, we need to be protected, we appreciate, but we still have courts that are really competent enough to handle this. As we do, let us reflect onto that. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
N'olw'emboozi okkiriza eza sabbiiti eno nizikomekerereze wano, naye njagala okwebaza ennyo abazadde abasobodde okuleeta abaana mu Go Back to School Service. Kyemwakoze kyabadde kyamaanyi nnyo. N'omwana owa buli mwana eyazze mmanyi ogenda kuddayo mu ttaamu ey'okubiri ng'oli kasazo nga buli kimu kyonna enkyukakyuka wamma ggwe y'amaanyi. Siyinza kuva wano nga sikujjukiza ku nteekateeka ya musumba owa Pastor Johnson Kato Muwanguzi eya sabbiiti ennamba. Olunaku olw'enkya olwa Monday agenda kubeerawo nnyo ng'alindiridde mbaganyidde mmwe abayina ebirooto abannyonnyola obubaka Kristo bw'abeera abatuusaako okuyita mu birooto. Olunaku olwokubiri abapya mbagamba nti mmwe luba lunaku lwammwe era muluteeke nnyo mu birowoozo. Olunaku olwokusatu lubeera lwabo abaagala okusinkanako omusumba mu private era nammwe mbagamba nti enteekateeka eyo olunaku muluteeke nnyo mu bwongo olwokusatu. Olunaku olwokuna deliverance service ebikutte byonna lwe tubisabira wamaggwe ne bikutuka. Olwokutaano bamembers we tuddamu okubeera nga tusinkanako omusumba. Bamembers abakadde olwo olw'omukaaga mmwe abali e Bulaaya manyi service eyo omusumba yagibateerawo nga muyita wali ku mukutu ogwa Zoom. Ku Sunday service ng'olunaku olwaleero eyo yo ebeererawo ddala buli lunaku olwa Sunday. Temulina kubeera nga musubwa enteekateeka ya Pastor Johnson Kato Muwanguzi. Ennaku ezo ziteeke nnyo mu bwongo buli omu ow'oli. Nze Sam Derrick Kalyango bwe tutambudde mu nsi nga bweri mu weeki. Sunday Night Sports yeddako era nkugamba ntova ku TBS TV.